This show is sponsored by Alicia's Pillows and Things. Check out the Facebook page, Alicia's Pillows and Things, where you will find home decor you will not be able to resist at prices anybody can afford. Check out the pillows and stools of your favorite sports teams. Maybe you want a set of your kid's favorite cartoon or movie character. You can also get full body and neck pillows as well. Log on to ngscsports.com and go to the Alicia's Pillows and Things tab on the homepage to complete your order. It makes a great gift for Christmas at an affordable price. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, man.
Yeah, feel that.
Yep.
Feel that, bro.
Fun times in the back.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, this is gonna be a fun one because I'm ready to get fired up about one of our news and notes stories.
Which one? We only got like two.
Well, it's not the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer one. That's for damn sure.
Oh, you're ready to go in on Bonucci.
I'm very ready to go in. I was so normally what I do at lunch is most of the time. So I work like right in the auditorium where we do all of our programs where I work. And so like it's one of those, like it's a classroom style auditorium, so it's like big steps on each side that go down into a well kind of thing, like that sort of.
Yeah.
So normally what I'll do for lunch is for about 30 minutes I'll just walk down one set, go across the front of the room, and then walk up the other set, and then walk along the back and just like make a loop for like half an hour just to get a little bit of exercise in. And so most of the time I'll just like listen to music or podcasts while I do it. And today I like started listening to a podcast, and then I started thinking about this story, and I just started thinking about it, and I just was getting madder and madder and madder, and to the point where I was like getting like almost shaking upset. I was like, this is so yeah, I worked myself into a lather, as some would say. So
Well, I hear ya.
So I will be giving those strong thoughts on episode 256 A of the Foreign Affair podcast, because that's right, we'll have some bonus coverage coming for you guys later on that just couldn't make it into this pod. We'll tell you about that later, but for now, welcome to episode 256 of the Foreign Affair podcast. I am Edward Green, joined as always by McCullen Crime, Wes Bradshaw, and we have a big episode for you guys today. Of course, we'll be doing a review of the weekend and half week that was in the Premier League. Big weekend of action. Obviously, the Foreign Affair podcast derby took place this Sunday. And of course, then today, when we're recording this on Wednesday, the opening of Tottenham Hotspur's new stadium. Only like 7 months late, but hey, we're here now. So, and it was, I don't want to say it was worth the wait, but it's pretty damn great. But we'll get into that later, obviously. We'll also do a quick preview of the Champions League, which will be returning next week with quarterfinal action. We'll also do news and notes, as we mentioned a little bit in the pre-pod, as well as watch for, and I believe we'll be having a Wrestlemania preview today for So Raw, Wes Bradshaw.
Sure, hold on, about to cough.
We don't have the cough button. That's
I had to cough really quickly. Yeah, we're gonna do some. We're gonna talk a little Wrestlemania. We'll go through the matches.
Oh boy.
Give some quick thoughts on them.
It will be the second best wrestling story you hear this week. First best if you just don't watch Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, which Vince McMahon, don't watch it. I'll just go ahead and tell you, don't watch it. Just save yourself some time. And
everybody outside of wrestling wants to talk about wrestling like they know what's going on with wrestling.
Unless you really want to watch remember that time you had to kiss a guy's ass, literally.
I didn't just say how many kiss Vince's first.
Oh boy. So we'll get to that in So Raw. Of course, as always, this podcast is presented by NGSC Sports at ngscsports.com. We never stop. As well as Alicia's Pillows and Things. Hey, I don't know that Alicia would do it, but like if you really wanted that Undertaker body pillow, I'm sure you could reach out to Alicia and maybe get that done. Oh, but she does all kinds of...
If you want to just curl up and rest in peace.
That's great. But if you want to, because she has so much great sports-themed pillows as well as things, you can check that out on her Facebook page at facebook.com. Just search for Alicia's Pillows and Things, first result that pops up. Or you can, of course, check out NGSC Sports. They have some stuff there as well. So, again, that's Alicia's Pillows and Things. But right now, let's head straight into the Premier League. And it was like a week and a half, sort of, in the Premier League. We had some makeup matches to get through. And I was thinking as we got through today, I was like, well, that's good. Now, from now on, after today, Liverpool and Man City will be battling it out every weekend, rest of the way. And then I was like, shit, Man City's still in the FA Cup. So, fuck that. It'll, at some point, I think it's next weekend, not this coming one. It'll be fucked up again, and Liverpool will be...
That's right, because then their match in hand will become Manchester United.
Yeah. It's like so annoying, but whatever. It's fine. We're back to even for now. Excuse me. I don't have a cough button either. But for the matches we're not going to discuss, Leicester beats Bournemouth 2-0 on last Saturday, thanks to an early goal from Wes Morgan as well as an 82nd minute finisher from Jamie Vardy. I believe that is Wes Morgan's second goal in as many matches. So the defenseman's sort of coming up big for Leicester.
Ed, are you saying that he's showing great character?
He's showing great character, especially since the last time he scored the goal. He came on to replace the defender, or to replace an attacker who had to come off because Leicester was down to 10 men. And Wes
That's right.
Morgan didn't even start. Great character.
And they showed the finest of character.
Great character.
It's called the Barrage effect.
That's something that's, I feel like, going to get lost in this season, and we're not really going to pick up on until the start of next, is that Brendan Rodgers is the manager at Leicester.
Brendan's the manager. The Barrage effect has gone on.
Oh, I can't wait to see.
Look at Leicester showing all that character.
I can't wait to see envelopes with little tiny Fox logos on them. It's going to be great.
And now that he's not my manager, I can go 100% in on Brendan.
Oh man!
I don't have my feelings to worry about.
Yeah. What else we got? Crystal Palace beats Huddersfield 2-0. I believe this is the match that dooms Huddersfield back to the championship. So they are officially out of the running. So that was all she wrote for Huddersfield. They were up for a solid 2 years in the Premier League, but they will be dropping back down. A somewhat surprising result over at Turf Moor, given how up we've been pushing the Wolves this year, but Wolves do lose to Burnley 2-0. Part of that was due to an own goal in just the second minute from Connor Cody. That got Burnley off to the right start, but it wasn't until the 77th minute when Burnley firmly took the lead, with Dwight McNeil getting the second goal of the match. Southampton gets a very important result on the road at Brighton and Hove, as Pierre-Emerick Højbjerg, his 53rd minute goal, gets Southampton a much-needed 3 points that pushes them just a little bit closer to staying up for another season. No, Siri, I did not. Everton beats West Ham 2-0. Kurt Zuma with the goal in the fifth minute there to just win, because that's what Everton does sometimes against bad teams. We'll talk about Sunday's match. We actually have to talk about Sunday's matches. Arsenal beats Newcastle 2-0. Not much to talk about there, really. It is an important win for Arsenal, obviously, as they're going to top four, but Newcastle just never showed that much fight, and Aaron Ramsey and Alexander Lacazette made sure that Newcastle did drop the points at the Emirates. On Tuesday, Watford gets a big win over Fulham, 4-1. With that, Fulham is also now relegated back to the championship. That is official, so now there is one spot left for a team to go down, and as we look at the table later, it might be becoming slightly clearer who that team will be, unfortunately. We'll get to that in just a little bit. And then from today, because we'll talk a little bit more about Chelsea in another match. Chelsea does get past Brighton 3-0 very easily. Goals in the first half from Olivier Giroud, and then 2 goals in quick succession in the second half from Eden Hazard and Ruben Loftus-Cheek. So I don't know, where do we want to start? Because I guess we can talk, I guess, Manchester City, sort of combining both of theirs, because neither one were they really troubled. Their first match today, they beat Cardiff 2-0 with first half goals from Kevin De Bruyne and Leroy Sané. And then it was sort of the same story a couple days ago, as they went on the road and beat Fulham 2-0. Bernardo Silva and Sergio Aguero with the first half goals there. So Wes, not also that much to say about City, except at this point, they're still doing what they need to do to stay in front of the title race. And the question really becomes, for some crazy reason that fate has determined, 3 big matches with Tottenham in about the next 5 days, it seems like. It will start to be an interesting question of, do City keep pushing for that elusive Champions League title, or do they all of a sudden look and say, well, we could also be repeat Premier League champions? You know, granted, they are deep enough to fight this war on 2 fronts, but this will be a very tough test for them this next month and a half that we have left in the season.
And don't forget, as you mentioned earlier, still in the FA Cup as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're showing great character in the FA Cup.
Yes, thank you, Brendan.
Character's amazing. Right now, City are doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They're racking up points. Am I to believe that City have won like 18 of their last 19?
Probably.
Now it's up to like 19 of their last 20.
Because I remember they lost to Newcastle. They did have that loss. And so, yeah, there was that one. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. They've won 11 of their last 12, because then there was that weird, they lost 3 and 4 to Chelsea, Palace, and Leicester in December. But since that weird 3 out of 4, they have won 11 of their last 12 in the Premier League. Probably once you count in the FA Cup and the Champions League, that number does grow.
Right. So basically, 1 loss this calendar year to Newcastle, as you said. And for all that dominance, they're 1 point ahead of Liverpool.
Yeah.
For City, I think City was just hoping maybe that Liverpool would fall by the wayside and they could kind of cruise on home to this title. Because, I mean, you've got a City group right now that are on pace to rack up 98 points. If they win out, they're gonna sit on 98 points after a year of sitting on 100 points, nearly 200 points, nearly a 200-point haul over 2 years, unprecedented in this league, and they are locked in a death race with Liverpool. I do not think that City planned for this. take into account as well, we've talked about Pep Guardiola obviously over the years. We're not the biggest Pep fans. I'm one who kind of thinks that Pep, well, I mean, now this has been proven. Pep is an amazing front runner. Mm-hmm. And I mean that City and Pep Guardiola have always done their best work when they basically have complete control of the league by October, November. And then they can kind of cruise it on home at the end of the year. Pep, if you look back at it, I want to say Pep's never truly been in a title race before. Mm-hmm. That obviously includes Barcelona. That includes Bayern Munich.
Right.
And Pep certainly never had to deal with a title race plus the pressure of winning the Champions League. Now, he does have maybe one of the deepest squads in the history of the game.
Yeah.
That's one thing they've definitely got going for them, is they do have depth. But also right now, in both the Premier League and the Champions League at the point they're at, City are at a point where they're just about having to play for perfection the whole way through. Mm-hmm. You could say, well, Liverpool are in the same boat. They are. To an extent, Liverpool are. But also, Liverpool weren't supposed to be here. It's kind of like last year in the champion. Well, not aiming at 97 points.
Okay.
Let's put it that. If now we obviously talked at the beginning of the year, City's main competition. Mm-hmm. But also in August, we said, but you know what? City's going to finish the year at 98 points. It'll be like, okay, well, City's going to win the title probably comfortably. Yeah. And Liverpool might give them a run, but they're going to win the title pretty comfortably. The fact that we're 32 matches into this season and 1 point separates them, mm-hmm. I don't think this is what City, City were not expecting this. I don't think anyone was really expecting it to be like this. So, I mean, it's going to be a really interesting run-in just to see how Manchester City cope with not being the runaways in the league. I think Pep would be a whole lot happier if he were 10 points up in the league and could easily set up his Champions League squad every week. And once again, just kind of cruise on home in the Prem. Not only that, but damn, City got a brutal little run here coming up. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you look at it, they still play, Liverpool are down to just Chelsea, basically out of the top six, which if you want to play somebody in the top six, that's probably who you want to play. Manchester City, they still have United. They still have Tottenham. Let's see. And like you said, they play Tottenham 3 times.
Yeah.
They play Tottenham 3 times. And then in May, they still bring it home with what right now is a game, Leicester. And then they bring it home to Brighton. So, City are racking up their points right now. There's Crucible, where they play Tottenham 3 times and Manchester United in that time frame all together. And right now, City are at a point. A draw kills you if you're City. Mm-hmm. I won't say kill because there are still points to be dropped in this league. I think it could be from Liverpool and City. Obviously, the West, the Red, is looking for Liverpool to pick up 18 points of the next 6 matches, which would just be perfect, and just have City drop somewhere, and we'll win the title. But I mean, I think there's a chance City's going to drop some points somewhere. There's still a good chance I think Liverpool are going to drop some points somewhere. So this title race is as tight as an Arsenal jersey was under the Arsenal regime.
It's true.
Very tight. And City, at this point, City definitely seem to have the tougher run in. Where Liverpool are going to play Porto. Not put anything past Porto. You can't assume you're going to win in the final 8 of the Champions League. But I'll put it this way. I bet Pep would much rather be playing Porto twice and Tottenham once than playing Tottenham 3 times.
Sure. Yeah.
In basically a week.
Yeah.
So, City have done exactly what they have to do to get themselves in this. But it's about to get real interesting for the citizens.
It's also getting interesting for their crosstown brothers in Manchester, as United do pick up a 2-1 win on Saturday. A late goal for Watford from Anthony Decore does erase the clean sheet, but United still do get the win. But fortunes would go from good to bad in their weekday match against that other W team, that is Wolves. And that is, again, why the Burnley loss was so surprising. Burnley comes out, gives up an early Scott McTominay goal. All saw that coming, I guess, in the 13th minute. But a guy who was so impactful, really all season, but especially in this match, Diogo Jota, just a phenomenal effort from him. Gave so much trouble to United's backline defense. Scores in the 25th minute, and basically gets... and I'm struggling. Ashley Young basically gets Ashley Young off the field in the second half by making him challenge him twice for double yellow, and United have to play the final half hour down 10 men, and it was a Chris Smalling own goal that was the difference for Wolves in this match as they win 2-1. And Wes, we joke about, you sent the text to me, I think, earlier today after the match, for all the good that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's done and all the good feelings he's brought up as we're 6 matches to play in this season, Manchester United sit in 6th place. And that is crazy. Now, obviously, that is also to do a lot with the teams in front of them, and how well all of them are also playing, but this is just a fact of life in the Premier League now, where if you drop points like that, even on the road, even to a good team like Wolves, it can be very difficult. And unfortunately for United, as you said, City don't have a very easy run in. I don't believe United do either. I'm checking really quickly to see.
They got City. So.
Well, this is that they will play West Ham at home coming up next. After that, it is Everton at Everton. Then it's Man City and Chelsea at Old Trafford.
And don't forget, they play Barcelona too.
Yes. So they have a very rough stretch as well. Now, granted, they do end the season with Huddersfield and Cardiff. Cardiff will I don't want to say most likely, but it's very possible that they will be relegated, certainly by the last day of the season. So if United can get to May in a good position, then they are certainly one of the favorites to make the Champions League from there. But it's the getting to May 4th, that match against Huddersfield, that's just going to be so very tough for United, especially after a rough loss where, because of the double yellows, Ashley Young will also miss United's next match against West Ham.
He will. And you mentioned earlier they did achieve a victory against Watford. Mm-hmm. But after that game, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer pretty much laid into his team and, used the phrase that you're playing a lot like you were the old guy. United, we didn't talk about Solskjaer getting the job.
No, actually, that was on the news and notes for this week.
Okay. Well, I mean, we'll obviously just touch on it right here, and then we'll go more in depth. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I believe it was last Thursday, which, of course, as you know on this show, everything happens on Thursday morning.
# Thursdays.
That's how we do things. United just kind of stunningly announced that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was getting the head job. Not that I think most of us were kind of expecting that to happen. Mm-hmm. But then there's this train of thought, and mine included, is like, why? I don't understand if you're United, why you suddenly have to lock yourself into Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Right.
At this point of the year. I mean, ain't nobody else coming after him.
Yeah.
Well, no one else of consequence. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you're United and you want him, you can have him in May. You can name him, let the season end. I just feel that psychologically there's something to the idea of, I'm playing for the interim boss and now I'm playing for the boss. Mm-hmm. And I just think they might have lost a little something when they named him manager. Not that is the reason for everything going on. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came in, and he was this breath of fresh air. And he was different from Mourinho. And, once again, everything was different. And, we can attack. We don't have to play this tower football. We don't have the manager putting us, throwing us under the bus at every turn. And they had a phenomenal, they had that fantastic bounce. Had, I believe, won the first 8 or 9 matches, went a long streak without losing. Excuse me. The feel-good factor was there at United. Pogba was playing like Pogba that they spent all that money on. Well, the last few weeks, United have kind of come back down to earth pretty much ever since they got that miracle win against PSG to go through. United have been coming back down to earth. And right now, they're finding themselves on the outside looking in. And, Arsenal have quietly started playing some really good football. And suddenly United are picking the wrong time to start not playing very good football. And, it's just this, the bounce is gone. And now suddenly United are fighting for their life. And now, I wanted to see, if I'm a United fan, see how Solskjaer was going to react to this time of the year when suddenly everything's not going right. How's he going to react? How's my team going to react? And then kind of base some things on that. Unfortunately, that's over. He's your manager. He's got a 3-year contract.
Yeah.
So I think, to me, it was a very Ed Woodward decision. And I wonder now if United have kind of painted to a corner, and now suddenly that feel-good factor is quickly evaporating. And now they're locked in a fight in 4th place, and they are 2 on the outside looking in right now and still have Champions League matches to play.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting. Arlo White actually had kind of the entire time Solskjaer had been manager for United since his appointment, had kind of been saying, this is going really well, just use it almost like a carrot. Not in so much cynical terms, but use it as a carrot to say, oh, well, just, hey, if things keep going well, maybe Solskjaer's the guy. Maybe Solskjaer's the guy. Right. And I think that's why it's such a big shock, because that seems like the smart thing to do. Right. Just, it was really weird with the timing, especially to do it at this point. Maybe they wanted to give him a confidence boost going into a very tough portion of the season. We talked about what they had going forward from this point. I mean, Wolves and Watford is also a very tough match stretch to play in 4 days. So maybe they thought there'd be some kind of boost from that. I do think they may have misjudged that a little bit. So that is unfortunate for them. Great for us, but unfortunate for United.
Well, and, no, let's not get this twisted. United have been playing a more attacking football than Mourinho did. But, I mean, once again, let's not get it twisted. This isn't Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United.
No.
I mean, up to the point where the legendary Louis van Gaal went on television and was basically ripping Solskjaer, saying, if you people think this is attacking football, you're the same ones who ripped me for not playing attacking football. And that's when you kind of have to look at him and say, Louis, do you understand what attacking football actually is? It's like, just because you had a lot of possession, you were playing attacking football. But anyway, I digress. Lukaku is looking like Lukaku again. Very heavy first touch.
Pogba was away. Really bad today against Wolves.
Yeah, against Wolves.
His
and he was really bad against Watford, too. And Pogba was one of the guys who really benefited from the bounce. Because suddenly, he was free to do what he wanted. And, the guys around him were buzzing and they were covering for him. Well, suddenly, that bounce is gone, and once again, it's just being seen. Pogba don't like to trap back and play defense. And when those passes aren't on the money, Paul Pogba at times becomes as much a detriment as he does a positive to your team. And right now, United are hitting a tough patch. They're doing it at a really, really not beneficial time of the season for them. And like we said, somebody like Arsenal, Arsenal are starting to play pretty well. And I don't think Arsenal play a top 6 team the rest of the way. You can look that up real quick. I don't believe they do. So you've got Arsenal who are charging. You've got Tottenham who still feel are able to see this out. They do have the match with City coming up, but I believe for Tottenham, most all of Tottenham's final matches, I think 4 of their last 6 are at home.
Yeah, we have to go to the Etihad, and we have to go to Bournemouth. But the rest of the 4 matches are at home, and City's the only top 6 club among them.
Exactly. Where we talked about United earlier. No, take that back. United have Chelsea. United have City. United have suddenly, I guess, a resurgent Everton.
Sure.
And like we said, had a lot of that around 2 big matches with Barcelona. So, United suddenly finding themselves on the outside looking in. And it is not an easy run in for them. And it is a bad time for them to start playing not good football.
Absolutely. It will be very fascinating to see what effect this has for United going forward. And if they do end up somewhat regretting this early trigger on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer coming in as the permanent manager.
Well, the way I see it is, next December, next January, when they haven't hit their transfer targets over the summer because people are like, I'm not going to play for a non-Champions League team with basically a rookie coach.
Yeah.
And they're sitting in 7th place because Wolves are good. How quick is the trigger going to be on Solskjaer if suddenly they're not replicating that about 10 to 12 match form?
It will be very tough, and at that point, could it be Ed Woodward? Maybe somehow that finally has to pay the ultimate price. We will see.
Well, remember, the only thing that matters for Ed Woodward seems to be, quote, the price.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the price that he's bringing into the club. I don't know. It's weird there. It's weird.
Super depressing. Let's talk very quickly.
I love it.
That's true. We do love it. Let's talk super quick about the first match on Sunday. Cardiff versus Chelsea. Just an absolutely gigantic match for Cardiff. One that they were leading for most of the second half thanks to a goal right out of the start of the second half thanks to Victor Camarasa. And Cardiff looked like they were going to see it out. But unfortunately, Chelsea pushed forward, got a goal from Cesar Azpilicueta, which should have been ruled offsides.
Wasn't close.
Just stunning. And then Cardiff had a chance on a breakaway when Antonio Rudiger brought down the Cardiff player, and it should have been a red card, and it wasn't. And Cardiff wasn't able to take advantage. And then Chelsea gets a late winner from Ruben Loftus-Cheek. It's great for Chelsea. They stay in the race for the top 4. It is absolutely disastrous for Cardiff as they are now. I mean, if they win that match, they are 2 points back of safety. And now they're 5 points back with 6 to play. It is just so brutal for Cardiff. Neil Warnock did a weird high noon standoff with the officials at the end of the match.
That was pretty much the best thing of the weekend, by the way.
Yeah. So there's really not much to say about this match except for the fact that Chelsea were absurdly lucky to come out of there with any sort of result, much less all 3 points.
Well, as much as I detest Neil Warnock, as any good Liverpool fan does, Um, extremely hard done.
Yeah.
Extremely hard done. And, kind of like you said, that's something that, I mean, that's his livelihood.
Mm-hmm. That's millions
Just
of dollars
based
for
on
Cardiff.
Not saying they're going to fire Warnock, which, I mean, they might not, who knows.
Mm-hmm.
But, like you said, that's millions upon millions of dollars potentially just got taken away from Cardiff if they had been able to overtake and stay up in the league. And for just, some of the really close calls, you just kind of say, well, you get some, you win some, you lose some. But, I mean, this wasn't even close. They had two guys offside and by a long shot.
Yeah.
And nothing. I mean, what is the side judge there for? Not.
Well, that's what I'm wondering is because you could say, well, next year that gets corrected because of VAR. I'm like, this isn't what VAR is correcting. This should already be called correctly. Yes, VAR would be able to overturn it, and that's good. But VAR shouldn't be being used for that one. VAR should be being used, was half his foot playing him on side, those super, super close calls. This is naked eye stuff, guys. This is not the hard one to get. And the fact they missed it is just, that is absolutely brutal. And because you could say, they could play some better defense and maybe they could have kept the 1-1 draw. I think for a team like Cardiff, and they still did have a breakaway chance after it was 1-1. I think for a team like Cardiff, you give up a goal like that probably shouldn't have stood against a team like Chelsea when you're fighting to not be relegated. I think just takes so much energy out of you, especially at that point. That's the 84th minute. That at that point, a winning goal for Chelsea almost seems inevitable, and that's really brutal for Cardiff. That's all I can really say.
It was absolutely gutted for them. Once again, not gutted for Warnock. I think he's a dick to the highest extent.
For sure.
But, that said, his stare down at the officials at the end of the match was epic. That was epic, and it was very well deserved. At that moment, Ed, we all stood with Neil.
Yes, for that one time only, we stood with Neil.
Seriously. Other than that, he can toss off.
Pretty much. So we can talk. I'm not sure how to do this because Liverpool didn't play a second match, but Tottenham did. So we can kind of.
Let's take a moment and let's start on a good foot for Tottenham.
Okay.
Because it was a very big day for the North London club. The new stadium that was promised a year ago is finally here.
And it is gorgeous. It is everything that was promised. It is absolutely amazing. It even brought the heavens down. Apparently, God was crying, and apparently his tears were frozen as hail came onto the pitch during pregame. That was really interesting.
Or are we putting this one on God, or maybe a different?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it was an Arsenal fan. But no, Tottenham, just an absolutely beautiful stadium, beautiful facilities, beautiful pitch. The second biggest stadium now in the Premier League, just behind Old Trafford. One of the biggest ends of the stadium, I believe, in all of football now, with the 17,000 seat south end, modeled after the one in Borussia Dortmund. It's a wonderful looking stadium. I hope many great memories are made there, and at least one was made today. Because as I'm sure nearly every Tottenham fan was just praying to God, don't fuck this one up. Of all games, don't fuck this one up. And thankfully they did not. Tottenham were absolutely dominant against Crystal Palace. Just absolutely had so many good chances in the first half. I think had about 80% of the possession and had about 8 shots on goal. Just couldn't get one to get through. But finally, the breakaway did come in the second half as Heung-min Son basically took on the entire back four of Palace by himself and got a goal to finally break the deadlock and become the first senior team scorer at new Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in the 55th minute. And then just about 10 minutes from time, Harry Kane drove into the box, and because all we know from Sunday, all Harry Kane can do is shoot. He did shoot, and unfortunately it was deflected into the path of Christian Eriksen, who buried it for the second goal and gave Tottenham all 3 points. Just an incredible day for Tottenham at their new stadium, and this is one of the reasons I do have hope for Tottenham going forward. I think they're back to playing very good football. I think they played very good football on the day. I think Palace only had one shot on target the entire time. Just a great performance from them, what you'd expect Tottenham to do against a team like Crystal Palace. And hopefully Tottenham will be able to continue this going forward in their final 4 home matches, plus their home Champions League match against City coming up next week.
I think the only thing that could have made it a better day for Spurs fans is maybe if Harry Kane scored that first goal.
Yeah.
Just for maybe trivia sake going forward. But absolutely no complaints for Tottenham. They did exactly what they had to do. And also in the grand scheme of it, because we are going to break down the derby here in just a few moments, after the run that Tottenham have had in the Premier League, it was vitally important for them to get 3 points.
Absolutely.
More important than anything. New stadium, how we won, whatever. Tottenham just needed 3 freaking points on the day. And they got it, and that hopefully puts back right their Premier League challenge here to finish here in the top 4, get themselves back qualified automatically for the Champions League next year. That's a big moment because it will be, let's put it this way, it will be absolutely devastating for Tottenham. I believe with the way their season had been going, where they were sitting in the league just a month ago, basically going into March, you're in the title race and you open the new park, you open the new stadium, and if somehow they end up outside the top 4 and don't make Champions League next year, I think that would be brutal for Tottenham Hotspur. Not only that, Tottenham is one of those teams that definitely need the revenue from being in the Champions League.
Absolutely, and
that's a huge part of their financial planning at the moment. I'm gonna go out on a limb and they've got to sign somebody this summer.
Probably, maybe.
And we said it last summer and this winter, and neither happened. See, you've got to figure Tottenham's going to lay at least a few dollars out for somebody this offseason. And this money is a big part of their budget. Tottenham don't have a chic daddy somewhere.
Yeah.
And they don't have a big American conglomerate behind them somewhere, that's funding everything for them. So for Tottenham, things like getting into the Champions League, getting into the knockout phase, that's big, important to their budget going into the summer.
Do you know Frankie DeLitt almost signed with us?
Say that again, my friend.
Frankie DeLicht over from Ajax. He
Frankie de Jong.
Wait, who's DeLicht then?
Matthias DeLicht.
Excuse me, him. Yes, he almost signed with us this summer.
Oh, the defender.
Yep.
Is that a nice one?
Yep.
Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to sign with you this.
Nope.
I do believe he'll be leaving Ajax, but I don't think it'll be for Tottenham this summer. I think if it's anyone in England, unfortunately, it might be the boys in sky blue, unfortunately. But more than likely, I think we're going to see him at Espanola going forward. So
good old Bartha. The great game for Tottenham, and as you mentioned, Wes, especially important. Coming off their match from this past Sunday where they did fall to Liverpool 2-1 at Anfield. It was a very unfortunate own goal in the final minutes of the match from Toby Alderweireld, who just kind of accidentally put in a deflection that came
his
from...
fault.
No, it wasn't his fault. Well, it wasn't really anybody's fault. Hugo Lloris saved a shot, went right into his path, and as you, I think, even mentioned when we were at the pub when we were watching on Sunday, it looked like his feet just almost kind of got caught underneath him a little bit as he was trying to clear it, and just that's super unfortunate. Roberto Firmino did start off the scoring in that match in the 16th minute with a header from a cross into the box TM from Andrew Robertson. But Tottenham did grow into the match at the end of the first half and into the second, came on strong, and finally Lucas Moura was able to take advantage of some high pressing from Spurs to get a goal in the 70th minute. Tottenham had what I'm going to call a pseudo chance on a breakaway, as Musa Sissoko unfortunately could not get a good shot off. Didn't have a whole lot of very good options though. Unfortunately was not able to convert. And then the own goal came, I think, about 8 minutes later. But I will say, and I agree with a little bit with Pochettino. Pochettino called Spurs heroes after the match for the way they played. I don't know that I'd go that far, but I think even in the loss, and yes, it was a loss and a number of losses in a row for Tottenham, I was very encouraged by the match, though. I thought Trippier played very well. I thought Danny Rose played very well. I thought Sissoko, outside of the one breakaway, played very well. I thought Harry Kane, for a guy that all he can do is shoot, I thought played some absolutely amazing passes, including one that did lead to Lucas Moura's goal in the second half there. One of the, this wasn't actually a goal. I think this is one that ended up leading to Ali's near miss in the second half, but just a spin and then to shoot while spinning, or not shoot, pass while spinning backwards was great. I was very, even in the loss, and it sucks to say, but even in the loss, I was very encouraged by Tottenham. And the performance they displayed at Liverpool side that had to win. You know, we kept hearing the game, oh, well, you can't lose. You can't lose. Whatever you do, you can't lose. No, I think Liverpool had to win this match. And they found a way to in the very end. I thought Liverpool was very good in the first half. Had a couple of very good chances. None that actually ended up hitting the mark, but did have a couple of good chances to add a second one in the first half. But I don't want to say very disappointed. Very disappointed might be strong. I was a little disappointed how Liverpool came out in the second half for this second year in a row, ironically, against Tottenham at Anfield. I thought they came out a little lethargic, which is weird because they didn't really press a whole lot in the first half. I thought a lot of their midfield passing was sort of poor, and Tottenham was able to get back into the game, I think a lot in part of that because of the midfield turnovers that kept happening. So I think Liverpool did enough and came forward enough towards the end to get the goal that they needed. But again, this is probably the best team Liverpool's going to play the rest of the way. So the fact they were able to get 3 points was great. But it was not a clean game at all, especially in the second half for Liverpool, as they were trying to keep Tottenham off the board.
Tottenham were the much better team in the and this has kind of been a Liverpool thing this year. This is not of a year ago where they're blowing people off the park. I mean, really, we have not seen that very often at all this year. Maybe only a couple of times where they've just come out and laid waste to anyone. This is a Liverpool team that really right now, it's like, I hope to get a goal in the first half and hold on to it. That's about the point I'm at. And then, hey, let's hope maybe we'll get a second and then maybe a third. Liverpool have the most wins this season in the Premier League, where they've took the lead after 90. I believe this is the third time this season they've done it. They've done it the most times in the history of the Premier League, crazy enough, that Liverpool find a 90-plus minute winner. And once again, for Liverpool, they are the beneficiary of poor goalkeeping. Yeah. For whatever you want to say about Hugo Lloris should have controlled that ball. There should have not been a rebound. I mean, it wasn't like Salah got a lot on that header.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't like a bullet header that was driving into the goal and, Lloris made some magical save. It was headed right at him. It was headed about middling. He just didn't hold on the ball. And what do you want to say? It's not the first time we've seen that from Lloris this year. Hugo Lloris, a few years ago, Hugo Lloris could be mentioned in that upper echelon of goalkeepers in the world. I don't feel Lloris is there anymore. I've seen a lot of regression from him over the last few years. I think he's become. No, I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like he's Loris Karius by any means. He's not Mignolet. I mean, you could do a whole hell of a lot than Hugo Lloris as your keeper. But I just, I think we've seen a lot of regression from him. And there were a couple times in this match he should have just held on to the ball and he wasn't able to. And it ended up costing him at the end. Alvarez was coming at the speed he was coming at because I believe he fully expected Lloris. He's like, oh, okay, he's got this. And all of a sudden, Lloris spills the ball right in front of him. And Alvarez, like we said, it's like his feet were getting under him. I think Alvarez was trying to stop from running into him. Yeah. Or he was trying to stop from what happened from running into the ball. Mm-hmm. And there just wasn't anything he could do. So I put that one on Lloris. Okay. I put this one on Hugo Lloris. As for the breakaway near the end, I thought Virgil van Dijk was Virgil van Dijk was the best player on the field on Sunday. 100%, I have no doubt about that. Virgil van Dijk was the best player on the field on Sunday. The way Tottenham, especially in the second half, the way Tottenham were playing without Van Dijk, I think they scored 2-3 goals easily. Van Dijk and Andrew Robertson were just magnificent all over the place between them.
I will jump in here and say I believe if not for the own goal, I think you could make an equal case though for Toby. I think Toby was fantastic. Toby actually had a very similar play to what Van Dijk did on the breakaway. He also had to make a couple very crucial interceptions. One that was much like that one when I believe Salah had kind of broken away. And he had to make a very crucial interception as Salah had gotten into the box. So I actually think both defenses played, as far as like the back four, I think both defenses played exceptionally well in this game.
Oh, yeah. I thought they were both lights out. And, I said before the match, two best defenses in the Premier League. Yeah. We were talking about that amongst ourselves. Mm-hmm. But on that 2-on-1 breakaway that Tottenham had, nearly every center back is choosing, do I drop off and cover Son, or do I try to make some sort of a challenge on Sissoko to keep him from having a shot? Van Dijk, A, he's huge. B, he's fast. C, he's smart. He stayed right in the middle until he had to do something at the very end. He was able to keep Sissoko from being able to make that pass to Son, and then he was able to push the ball onto Sissoko's weaker left foot. Mm-hmm. And nothing against Sissoko, but Sissoko, A, is not known for his goal-scoring prowess anyway. No. And B, when you make him push it onto his weaker left foot, I mean, he could have that shot 100 times and he might hit it. Yeah. And it was magnificent. It was magnificent defending.
I'm curious what the decision would have been if that had been, like, let's say, Delhi instead of Sissoko. If it had been Delhi and Son breaking. Right. Because I think while it's a great decision in the moment and to process that, and Van Dijk did exactly the right thing, I think it being Sissoko makes it easier by like 10%. Yeah. So like it's what happens if that's like an actual goal scoring threat.
You're absolutely right. And part of that is knowing who.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it would have been different, like if it was Harry Kane,
Sure, right.
or as you said, Dele Alli, or even if Son had come out with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in the moment, perfect play.
Yeah.
Little minor controversy if Liverpool hadn't have won was the Spurs goal. And not the goal itself, but the admittedly magnificent free kick from Harry Kane, which was so freaking inch perfect that set that goal up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all he can do is shoot, right?
Yeah, all he can do is shoot.
Just a poacher, just a damn poacher. In all technicality, that kick should have been brought back because the ball was moving.
Yeah.
And it was moving barely, but in all technicality, it was moving. Now, look, when we were in there, I'm not making a big deal about it. I don't think anyone made that big a deal about it.
No.
It's one of those things just with the way the Premier League has gone this year, and like we were Chelsea match, if it had turned the match and Liverpool, let's say they end up 1-1, it would have been something to bitch about. And I think you would have been hearing it for the last few days.
I think so. I think that's a little more ticky-tack. Like, that's when...
Right.
Because we see that not called a whole lot. I mean, it's the same thing like when people on throw-ins run up about 12 steps before they actually throw it in. Like that.
Very much so.
That never gets called. So I do understand. You are correct. But I just... In the how many times is that ever getting called like goal or not? Like I can't remember a time that's ever or
well, no,
I take that back. I'll take that back. I'd say maybe a couple times. Yeah.
I've seen it when it's been a little more blatant.
Yeah.
Than that. She didn't get called back. But once again, since at the end of the day that didn't kill Liverpool, you didn't see the uproar. That's what, because, I mean, that's how everything. I mean, let's say if Cardiff had come back and won 3-2, there wouldn't have been, I mean, it would have been an offside goal, but it would uproar and bitching that it ended up being. That's just kind of how it rolls on things like that.
I would also say, I think on the play, Henderson, and this is a super minor thing, Henderson could have just like jumped in front of it. Instead, his immediate reaction was to complain to the referee that it wasn't a foul, and which also allowed Kane to get it off. That's like a super minor point, but it's also something that you have to. I think you have to have a little bit of awareness of to. That Kane is capable of doing that.
And I'm gonna tell you, even if nothing else, Jordan Henderson should have had that little shithead moment. That Liverpool fans would have gone, and Tottenham fans would have been like, fuck this guy.
Yeah. Kick the ball.
When Harry Kane threw and rolled that ball, Jordan Henderson stuck his foot out and just kicked the ball away for 2 feet.
Yeah.
Just so he'd have to go get it and reset it. It's those little bastard, the dark arts, as we call them under Mourinho.
Yes.
Now, that's something a Mourinho player would every time, twice on Sunday. That ball... If nothing else, they would have just kicked and tapped that ball just to get it out of the way, rolling, just to give them those extra couple seconds. And that's something that, I'm my captain to do. I'm looking for who's supposed to be my hard man captain, Jordan Henderson. I'm looking for him to disrupt that somehow. But that said, taking all that away, that free kick from Harry Kane was as freaking perfect as anything you'll ever see. I mean, you could not have asked for a better free kick in that situation. He goes across the field. He goes from midfield, crosses field all the way down to the bottom, and puts it right on his player where only his guy can make a play.
Yeah.
It was absolutely magnificent. And the goal was fantastic to go with it. Now, I'm going to say this, and we'll turn around and say, well, they had 2-1 lead. I think at 1-1, at that moment of the game, Spurs were pleased with 1-1.
I was. Yeah, I agree.
Because you saw as good as Spurs had been in the second half. And yes, a few minutes later, Spurs level of intensity dropped off right after that goal.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like, when you saw Lucas Moura celebrate kind of as much as he did,
mm-hmm.
where it was kind of like, okay, dude, we get it. Get the ball out of your jersey and let's go. It almost felt to me kind of like Spurs were saying, job done.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're just gonna kind of cruise this on home and take our drive. And of course, yes, if we get a free scoring look, obviously we're not trying not to score,
right?
But you didn't see that same push coming from Spurs that you had earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just that little bit lack of intensity, could have been something that kind of came back and got them a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that is maybe a little bit different because I could be wrong, but I feel like last year in this fixture, after Wanyama scores the goal to tie it at 1-1, Tottenham still pushed forward a lot. They ended up getting what was the penalty that could have made it 2-1 Tottenham, and then they just kept pushing forward. Blah 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 blah. But yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can always just, kind of like I said after, you sent me earlier today, and breathe.
Yeah.
But you don't breathe till that last whistle.
Yeah, especially when Dejan Lovren gets introduced.
Oh, Jesus God, yes, especially when Dejan Lovren comes in. But, you've got to play. And I'm going to tell you, man, that's one thing I spoke earlier about Liverpool with the late winners this year. I believe if Liverpool go on and win this Premier League, I believe the theme of the season in review video, the theme is going to be, this was a Liverpool team that they were not perfect, but they were the kings of the Premier League of not quitting until the end of a match. We've seen that from this Liverpool squad so much this year, where they're getting the late winners, they're getting the late equalizers. They're doing those little things that are getting them either the draw or getting them all 3 points. And yeah, they might leave it late and it's not pretty. But Liverpool have some of that, we used the Fergie time magic. Liverpool seem to be the team that have it this year. They're the ones Liverpool play all 90 plus the stoppage time. Liverpool seem to not let up. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's got them in the. Because look, they're not as talented as City. They're not as good as City. Defensively, I think they're better than City.
Yeah.
Midfield and the attack, they're not as. But they're right there for a reason, and I think it's because Liverpool are proper hard this year. Something they have not been in a long. Liverpool are proper hard, and they've got enough guys to score you some goals. Mm-hmm. But I think that was the key. I think Tottenham took that deep breath and exhaled, and Liverpool just kind of kept pushing, kept prodding, and they gave themselves that opportunity at the end. And when you do things like that, sometimes it just falls your way. Mm-hmm. So that's our Premier League review.
Yeah. So that is, and we're not quite done yet, as we do have to take a peek into this next weekend's worth of matches. As we start Friday, Liverpool's right back at it again. This time they have to go to a suddenly hot Southampton at the St. Mary's Stadium, where they'll be playing.
And are you telling me they're?
We'll see. Who's it gonna be? We'll see. 3:00 on Friday. So they will get right off, and then. I guess this is an FA Cup weekend. Is this an FA Cup weekend? This is an FA Cup weekend. Fuck off.
Oh, okay. Well, I know the big thing is we're playing Friday. So.
Yeah. City was supposed to play Cardiff. That's not happening anymore. So here's your matches for Saturday. 10 a.m. you get Newcastle versus Palace, Huddersfield versus Leicester, and Bournemouth versus Burnley. That Burnley match matters because Burnley's really close to the bottom of the table. On Sunday, Tottenham get the second match in their new stadium as Brighton comes to town, and then Everton plays Arsenal at 9:00. Oh no, wait, Tottenham doesn't play this weekend because of the fucking FA Cup.
Right, because they would have played They would have played City this weekend, right?
No, we play Brighton this weekend.
Brighton this
we
weekend.
play City 2 weekends.
That's it, and that was the regular schedule.
Yeah. So
City's,
we played.
This weekend should have been City United.
No, this weekend was City Cardiff.
Was that okay? Damn it! I can't keep up with all of them.
It's fine. That's why the fuck FA Cup. On Monday, Sunday, you have 9:00 again. Everton versus Arsenal is your one match, and then on Monday you get Chelsea versus West Ham at 3. That's it. So that's your schedule. Fuck off. I don't know. Whatever. Let's look at the table. City are now up 1 point on Liverpool with 6 matches to play for each. As of right now, we'll see. Tottenham right now are in 3rd place with 64 points. Arsenal, with match in hand against the other 3 teams in the top 6 race, are at 63, as are Chelsea. Man United are at 61. Then at the bottom of your heart, the relegation zone, Brighton and Hove, Southampton, and Burnley are all sitting at 33. Burnley on goal differential is closest to the bottom, but they're all at safe. Cardiff right now, again, hard luck losers. They are at 28, 5 points adrift. Fulham and Huddersfield, they're taking the drop. They're done. So that is how your table.
If this was the only sports show, we'd.
You'd be playing taps. Anyway, so Champions League starts this next week. So a week from today will be some more matches. On Tuesday, you get Liverpool hosting Porto and Tottenham hosting Manchester City. That is a gigantic match at New Tottenham Stadium. And then on Wednesday will be Manchester United hosting Barcelona and Ajax hosting Juventus, and I think we all know who I'm pulling for there.
Well, of course, no Ronaldo. Most, I think we're.
Yeah. Don't worry, ladies. I'll be back, or do worry because of that. I don't know. So to the news and notes. FA Cup happens this weekend. I don't have the schedule in front of me. I've talked about it a lot.
You know who's there, right? I mean.
It's United, City, Brighton.
City's playing a team that's.
I don't know. City's playing someone. Wolves and Watford are in it. So
United's gone.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's right. So it's City, Brighton, Wolves, and Watford.
The Wolves.
The Wolves.
The Wolves and the Spurs.
So. To the news and notes. All I'm going to say about this Solskjaer thing, Bleacher Report, your headline, Ole chosen over Pochettino to be permanent manager after impressing as interim. Fuck you. Pochettino was not going. Fuck you. Solskjaer was not chosen over Pochettino, unless you mean it's because Pochettino wasn't fucking going to United. Fuck you, Bleacher Report. That's all I have to say about it.
Well, yeah, and also fuck your Champions League coverage because, Just because.
I'm getting into a lather for the story. I talked about it in the pre-pod. I'm
gonna just throw my 2 cents in there real quick, and I think you have a much stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Bonucci's just stupid. I mean, we've kind of known this. He's not the smartest man. Italian football is rife with racism. That's just how it is, and Bonucci basically threw his own teammate under the bus.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he's a fucking idiot. But anyway, Ed, I'll turn this over to you, my friend.
That was a lovely TLDR. This past weekend, while Juventus were playing Cagliari, there we go. Moise Kean, teenager, comes in having to take over the striker position for Ronaldo, who was not in, comes in, scores a big, I believe, tying goal for Juventus against Cagliari. Had been getting racist abuse thrown at him all throughout the match, as Wes mentioned. So this was not like a thing that just all of a sudden happened. Like, Italians are racist, and this is what happens. Also, Moise Kean is black. We should mention Moise Kean is very black. So Kean scores.
He is very black.
He scores a late.
That was a West question.
Sorry. He is. There's no light skinnedness here. He's very dark skinned. But he scores the goal and runs over in front of the Cagliari fans who have been giving him so much racist shit for the entire game, and does just spreads his arms in front of them and says nothing. He just stands there in just a big old fuck you pose without actually throwing up the middle fingers. And more racist shit gets thrown his way. And Blaze Matuidi, who is also black, also heard it and was super offended by it. And, so this bullshit, which is, again, as Wes sort of mentioned, not particularly new to Serie A and Italian football in general. And if that was kind of the story, we probably wouldn't even be touching it. I mean, we mentioned a couple weeks ago, Danny Rose and other black England players getting abused in Montenegro. That's what happens now. It sucks. And it should be stomped out, but it happens. It's not super newsworthy for this pod anymore. The bigger problem in terms of what we're going to deal with on this pod comes from Leonardo Bonucci saying, quote, after the match, Keane knows that when he scores a goal, he has to focus on celebrating with his teammates. He knows he could have done something differently too. There were racist cheers after the goal. Blaze heard it and was angered. I think the blame is 50-50 because Moisey shouldn't have done that and the Curva should not have reacted that way. We are professionals. We have to set the example and not provoke anyone. To which I say, Leonardo Bonucci, go fuck yourself. Actually, go fuck yourself. I don't mean it in the figurative sense. I mean in the literal, chop your own dick off and shove it up your own ass. Because you are a fucking asshole. I cannot believe that the captain of this team would actually say something like that to a reporter. Like, I get it. If you want to take the young man aside and say, listen, I know what you are going through, and that was really shitty. But, we're Juventus. This is how we celebrate. We celebrate with our teammates. We don't do stuff like that. So in the future, please, don't do stuff like that. And then if Bonucci comes out to the reporter and goes, that was bullshit. There is no reason those fans should have been racist towards him. Fuck those guys. They're assholes and they should be banned for life. If he comes out, fine, whatever. But he didn't. He went with there were fine people on both sides argument. What the fuck is that, Leonardo Bonucci? What the fuck was that? That is some grade A bullshit. Not just because you are halfway condoning racism by saying it was 50-50, but you threw, as Wes said, your own fucking teammate under the bus. You're the club captain. What the fuck is your problem? This boggles my fucking mind. And again, this is not the worst part of the story, because the worst part of the story is the racism, and that's terrible and shitty. But, my God. And yes, Bonucci came out with not an apology, because he didn't actually say, I'm sorry. But he came out with I was misconstrued thing on Instagram. No, fuck you. You didn't even say you're fucking sorry. Go fuck yourself, Leonardo Bonucci. God damn.
Poor Bonucci. Italian's only his first language. Jesus Christ. I just looked up at Jimmy Fallon on there. My God, I'm done for the night.
Wait, what's happening?
They're doing some kind of a top 10 list or something on Jimmy Fallon.
Mm-hmm.
WWE people coming out and reading things, and Alexa Bliss just popped up on my TV, and I'm going to need a few minutes here.
Well, that's fine, because I just... It's striking that someone would actually do that to their teammate. Like, I get it. And again, if he pulls him aside after the match and just says, look, that's not the Juventus way. We don't celebrate by ourselves. We don't make a spectacle of this. That's not what we do. And then he goes out and defends them in public. That's I don't agree with that stance, because I think you should be allowed to celebrate how you want, as long as it's not like actually throwing up middle fingers. But as long as if that's what he does, if he pulls him aside after the match in the locker room in private, okay, fine, whatever. To fucking throw the kid under the bus. He scores a giant goal in a match where, I mean, Randy Moss fucking pulled his pants down in front of the Green Bay Packers in a playoff game. Like, and that shit was hilarious. This wasn't even close to that. He just literally goes up, puts his arms out after scoring a gigantic goal, and it's It's absurd that Leonardo Bonucci would think this. Cagliari's president also said a lot of dumb shit. We're not going to get into that. But
that gets more to the Italians are racist.
Yeah. But Leonardo Bonucci, oh man, this is really, really fucking bad.
Oh.
So
it is.
Do you have anything else to add, or are we done?
I don't. It's just, to me, it's just this is not a new thing. I mean, Bonucci, just back into the whole racism part of it. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is not a new thing.
No.
Pogba. Pogba was getting it. Back in the old days, Clarence Seedorf, a lot of those great Dutch players at AC Milan, they were catching it.
Balotelli caught it.
I mean, Balotelli, God Almighty, he's caught it over the years. I mean, this is something that's, this is getting like epidemic level in Italy of all places. We talk about Eastern Europe, Croatia and Serbia, and you're like, oh, you expect it from them, But I mean, this is Italy. This is supposed to be one of the most cultured countries in the world, and this is the shit you're hearing here. Every once in a great while in the United States, you'll hear of something. I think the last big incident in the United States was a few years ago in Boston with somebody yelling at Adam.
Yeah.
And, that was quickly like, we don't, no, this isn't what we do here. The United States, with all our racial infighting in this country right now, this is something you don't hear very often at all. But, you go to Europe, the great bastion of acceptance, and, we should be more European. Well, shit, all we hear about in Europe is damn people getting cussed and, racially abused at every turn, it seems like.
The crazy thing, not the crazy thing, because there's so much crazy thing, but one of the crazy things of this story is Moise Kean is Italian. It's not even like you were saying, Clarence Seedorf being Dutch, or if he was actually Ghanaian and just came to play in Italy, or someone like Mo Salah who came from Egypt to go play in England. This is an actual Italian. He plays for the Italian national team. I think it was the under-21s, but Moise Kean has played for the international team for Italy. Like, I don't...
Yeah, but think about it. Balotelli catches...
No, you're right. That's where I'm struggling, is because it's solely coming down to skin color, because it's not even that he's different from where he was born. He's an Italian citizen.
Yeah, it's just pure racism. It is race. It's not xenophobia or anything like that. It's just pure racism. And you hear about the the English player Raheem, who we bandy about big time on this show, because neither of us are Raheem Sterling fans. It has nothing to do with the fact that he's black.
Oh no, we just like making fun when he doesn't score goals.
I have every reason to have because of what he delivered. That's literally all it takes for me. But his recently he's come out about when England was on, I believe when they were on international, he was just catching it horribly. Hudson-Odoi was catching it. It's just, this is like an epidemic in Europe. It happens in the French league, and France is, France as a footballing nation was built on, the '98 World Cup, where it was players from all over the world who happen to be French, quote, quote, French. But, they had, and they were so well thought of because of how multicultural they were. And, at a time when that's supposed to be the rage, America, be more European, we're told. And it's like, wait a minute, if we were more European, racism would be even worse. So, it's getting to epidemic levels, unfortunately, at the football matches. And it's ridiculous, man. there's no place for it. Where England, I think, stamp out racism thing that they've been doing.
Kick it out.
Kick out racism. Yeah, stomp out racism. That's more just a John Terry thing when it comes to stomping.
Yeah.
JT, stomp your wife. But I mean, it's just sad. I mean, it's sad and it's terrible that these guys have to. The English guys in the last few years, Rhian Brewster talked about when Liverpool's under 18 were playing in the kind of like the Champions League for the under 18s, and Liverpool went to Russia and he caught it there.
Yeah.
And they've talked about it everywhere, that it's an epidemic level. Yeah. It's sad, and it's something that needs to change.
Yeah, and I don't know what you do though. Like that was part of what I thought about on my walk today at lunch. I was like, do you start, if this shit starts happening, do you start making them play in empty stadiums?
Yeah, but see, I mean, and that's one of those things. And you say this, it's like you hate to punish the 99% that aren't doing it.
Well, and my answer to that would be, at that point, that let's say that happens for one match. The next time somebody starts being a racist asshole, does a person then in their section turn around and go, "Hey, dude, shut the fuck up. We'd like to keep coming to matches." And the rest of the group starts to put those assholes into place. Now the question becomes, do the racist assholes outnumber the people who would tell them to shut up? I don't know.
Well, and my thought on, if I'm a bold enough asshole to be screaming racist things at someone, if you then turn around and say something to me, I'm just going to probably punch you in the face.
Yeah.
And then I'm starting a brawl in the stands.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing, man. I mean, how do you fix it? We sit here and say it's unacceptable. How do you fix it? I can't give you an answer.
I can't either. And it sucks. And I hate it.
It does. It sucks, and I hate it for the image of the sport, and most of all, I hate it for those guys who have to put up with that shit. I mean, we're not Balotelli fans, but Mario Balotelli, you should hate Mario Balotelli for being an arrogant asshole who doesn't score goals.
Yeah.
And for being a massive distraction on the field. You shouldn't hate Mario Balotelli because of the pigmentation of his skin. That's beyond ridiculous.
Yeah. Look, I mean, you all know, because he just did it, 45 seconds ago, how much we hate on John Terry.
Oh, God, yeah.
Guess what? John Terry is a white motherfucker.
And John Terry is the whitest of white people.
So
I mean, we hate on John Terry because he's a scumbag.
Yeah. So
we hate on Mario Balotelli. Circus.
Yeah.
We don't hate on we don't hate on Mohamed Salah. We don't hate on Ali.
Yeah.
We don't hate on Davinson Sanchez. We don't,
when we can pick them out.
We are equal opportunity haters here on the Foreign Affair podcast. If you give us a reason, we'll hate on you.
Hey, we're the time haters.
Exactly. Time haters. We come back in time to call you a cracker.
When's we gonna be free? Let me think. How about now? Bang! Oh man, if I could shoot a slave owner every episode, I would. Oh, I love that one. That was the best. All right, let's do it. Speaking of TV shows, that don't involve shooting slave. Oh, let's get to the watch for. Wes, what have you been watching the week that was, or the week that will be?
Well, actually, we can talk about it a little bit. I went and saw.
Yeah.
That definitely had the undertones of slavery to it.
Yeah.
That was one of the weirder movies I've ever seen.
Did you see Get Out?
I did not see. I did not see Get Out.
Okay.
Now, excuse me. Let me put it this way. I liked Us. I thought it was a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was very well made. The lead actress who played kind of the main role in it,
mm-hmm.
she was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
M'Baku's in it.
Yes.
He's a giant pussy in it, but he's in it. I mean, it was a good movie. It was interesting. It was just like what the hell is going on here? And then at the end, suddenly it's like, oh, shit. Yeah. So it does have a really cool like twist. I'm not giving it away, but it does have a really cool twist there at the end of it, and it's a right interesting movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I would tell y'all to see it. You know, I would be a little careful maybe going to the theater and seeing it. You know, just if you're on the fence about it, maybe wait for it in the Redbox or catch it there. But I mean, definitely worth a watch. Definitely worth a watch. Yeah, I think we're gonna be talking a little Captain Marvel.
Yeah, bonus pod coming out. Also, our thoughts on Captain Marvel.
That's right. So we're gonna do a Captain Marvel pod. So I did make.
Yes.
And as I felt about it, I always pick up more stuff the second time I see a Marvel movie. I always understand it more and pick up things. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited about. I was excited to see it the second time today, and guess what? I still like it.
Nice.
I have not changed my opinion just so I can be one of the ones who just I'm gonna hate it because I hate you, Brie Larson.
I'm glad you don't have to throw that entire episode in the trash can. Thanks.
She's still not my favorite person, but Goose makes up for everything.
Oh, Goose.
That's what we'll talk about. I watched a new show tonight before we came on the air. Mm-hmm. In relation with my other shows I've been watching. It's a reality-ish show, mm-hmm. And I say it because it's more like it's a competition.
Okay.
It's called what's it, $1 Million Mile?
It's the LeBron James thing that's hosted by not LeBron James.
LeBron's played. Tim Tebow's the host.
That's it. Yeah.
Which makes it just so damn likable. It's that Tebow. He's so likable.
Yeah.
Hey, folks, unpopular opinion. I don't like Tim Tebow. My reason, it's not because he's black. It's not because he's white. It's because he's a fucking Florida Gator. That's why I don't like his ass. So he had equal opportunity hate on this show. Hey. But man, that was a really fun show. I liked it. No one won the $1 million.
No.
Had a couple tonight win the $50,000. But it was cool to watch those athletes really getting ass after.
Nice.
So that was my new recommendation for you. Us gets a more thumbs up than thumbs down from me, and $1 Million Mile. Check it
out. So for me, wrapped up with one named Producer Jackie. We binged the last 7 or 8 episodes of this second season of Mob Psycho 100. It's great. It's got a great theme song, as all Japanese anime should. And it's really good. It's a big story about friendship and big shonen fights, which I love when people do the big throwing into buildings and with the big spirit energy bombs, and it's awesome. So yeah, go check it out, Mob Psycho 100. It's a fantastic anime. The second one I'm going to talk about is a show from 2016, if you even want to call it a show. It's more like a mini series on from Funny or Die, and I think it was Funny or Die, or it might be College Humor. It's one of the two of them. It doesn't really matter. Wes, do you remember our good friend from Parks and Recreation, John Ralphio Saperstein?
Oh, I do.
Mr.
One of my favorite television.
Well, he was in a show with, and I'm actually Googling it right now because I don't remember the other people's names in it. It's called The Earliest Show, and since at some point you might be doing the morning show on our former station, you can there you go. So Lauren Lapkus is co-hosting along with Ben Schwartz. They both play characters on the show. They play whoever's hosting with Kelly Ripa now on that show.
Seacrest.
Yeah, okay. So it's kind of a show like that where people in the morning are super peppy and almost to the point of annoying. And they have guests and they have different segments. It's hilarious. But the biggest thing is I actually only watched one episode of the 6 because I don't really care. The whole thing is I watched, because I was just randomly on YouTube and I found this. It's like a little over an hour of outtakes from the series. And each episode is mainly like 10 minutes long. And so there's only 6 episodes. So it's only about an hour long to watch the entire actual series. And there's over an hour's worth of outtakes. So the outtakes is just more than the entire series put together, which they make sure you know at the very beginning with the title card. And it's weird to see like things that were in the outtakes that just never even made to the show, like actual storylines, which is weird to say. Storylines that just never made it into the actual episodes. It's super weird, but it is fucking hilarious to watch them, especially because there's the different episodes. Ben Schwartz will sometimes be like super excitable, and sometimes will be super depressed. And some of their guests are really good. The guests all play themselves. And I forget. I think one of them was Questlove, or I might be doing that wrong. I might be thinking of somebody else. Thomas Middleditch, Jane Levy was on there one of the episodes. And then they have like their exercise one or their cooking thing. And the exercise person, do you remember on Brooklyn Nine-Nine when Holt and Jake have to go into witness protection in Florida? And they are at the go-kart track and they both get hit by the go-kart. And there's that Florida lady filming. And they have to steal her phone to get it back so their identities don't get exposed. That woman is in this as the exercise trainer person. And what she does is she takes them through what she calls tiny exercises, because you have to pretend like you're in a super small space, only about the size of a yoga mat. Why? Because she's living in a family's closet, and that's all the space she has to work out in anyway. So it is really weird. But it is the earliest show. It's called The Earliest Show. It's really good. The characters, especially the girl, can be very grating at times, but in an intentional way. Like, she's so chipper that you just want to like punch her in the face. So she does a great job of being super like peppy annoying. She is amazing in this. And of course, Ben Schwartz is Ben Schwartz. So I give a big recommendation to The Earliest Show. Again, it's only 6 episodes, and each episode's only about 10 minutes. So not a big time commitment. But if you can find the outtakes on YouTube, those are way better than the actual episodes. So that is what I have to say. And speaking of outtakes, WrestleMania could probably use a few to keep it under 12 hours. So Wes, let's get that WrestleMania preview in So Raw.
And then I'm gonna drop us a thought about Jean. Thing.
Money, please.
Oh, I love her so much. Oh, Mona Lisa.
She's
Please
terrible.
come back into our life. She is the most terrible person I know. And I'm her brother. Oh, man. Speaking of the most terrible people I know, it's time for WrestleMania.
Yay!
That said, WrestleMania is going to be badass, as it usually is. WrestleMania 35 is upon us. It is coming to you from MetLife Stadium in New York, actually New Jersey. But anyway, don't let facts get in the way of
It's
fight.
fine. It's fine.
You know, the New York Jets and the New York Giants play there. So, we're gonna run down the matches real quick. We'll hit a few storylines. Women's Battle Royal is going to be in the kickoff show. We are going to have the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. The men. Braun Strowman is the biggest name in there. He has a current feud going with Saturday Night Live cast members Michael Che and Colin Jost.
Yes.
Who have both been added to the Battle Royal because basically Braun Strowman's going to murder them both on the air.
Can't wait.
I actually can't either because those two are super annoying human. And Braun Strowman is a great, great man, as we know. Great North Carolinian. Anyway, Cruiserweight Championship champion Buddy Murphy going to be defending against Tony Nese. Now we're going to get into the main show because there's huge matches on the show, which tells you how long the pre-show is going to be. A long time. SmackDown Tag Team Championship. It's like a four-way dance. It's going to be the Usos are the champions. Ricochet and Aleister Black going to be in that match. We've seen them quite a bit on Raw recently. The Bar is in that match. And Rusev and Nakamura are a team.
Ooh.
So, there we go. That's going to be the SmackDown title match. A farewell match. Kurt Angle will bid adieu and farewell to the WWE. People were kind of hoping maybe it'd be a big-time opponent, but it will be Baron Corbin. Will be Kurt Angle's opponent in Kurt Angle's final match in WWE. Angle, God, he's been there since, I want to say, 99. Wow. I mean, he had some time. He was in TNA. Came to WWE first in 1999, and here we are 20 years. Is that 20 years? Yeah, it's 20 years later. I was supposed to say, is that 20 or 30? I can't. 20 years later, so great career, so close. Falls Count Anywhere grudge match: The Miz and Shane McMahon. That's going to be fun because Shane McMahon always kind of a WrestleMania highlight when he wrestles.
Oh yeah,
because Shane McMahon wrestles once or twice a year, so he has no problem killing himself for you. And he will do it to try to fuck up The Miz. We know that. That's going to be fun. Women's Tag Team Championship match. This is another four-way tag team match. The champs Sasha Banks and Bayley taking on a returning for the first time in Beth Phoenix and Natalya versus Nia Jackson, Tamina Snuka, and the fourth team in there is the Iconics. That's going to be a fun match. Women's tag team division is coming along nicely, still in its infancy, but it's added some more context and some more competition into the women's division. Get more of them on air. That's good. United States Championship match, a battle of different sizes. Samoa Joe, the Big Three, Rey Mysterio for the United States title. Mysterio is, of course, the size of a middle school child. He's also like the retiring middle school principal at this point. But Mysterio, he's still electric in the ring. He and Samoa Joe should put on a good one. Intercontinental title match, Bobby Lashley. Yes, I yawned at the name of Bobby Lashley. Taking on Finn Balor, and it has been, I think it would have been cooler if they hadn't announced it as Finn Balor will be unleashing the Demon. It's been a long time since we've seen the Demon show up in a WWE ring. So that'll definitely be cool to see the Demon show up. In our celebrity match of the year, Triple H versus Batista.
Oh, boy. And
Triple H's career is on the line in this match. This began, of course, with Batista's attack on Ric Flair. This match has been building. Apparently, it is what Batista wants. It's not what he wants, but it is what he wants. We went through that a few weeks ago. So it is a no holds barred, so anything can happen in it, so it'll get good and violent. Which, between Batista and Triple H, it's not exactly like a clinical wrestling match anyway. So, yeah, that should be fun though. Randy Orton versus AJ Styles, and that's a match, and it's just two of the best guys in WWE. AJ Styles is still maybe, he and Seth Rollins to me still the two best wrestlers in WWE. Randy Orton is still a stud at his old age. They should tear the house down. They've been building the storyline for a few months. It's going to be really good between those two. Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. Reigns is back, and he has had to deal with asshole Drew McIntyre ever since he came back. McIntyre has taken to beating the shit out of Reigns and Ambrose at every chance he gets. And maybe our last chance to see Dean Ambrose. We'll have to see with that. WWE Championship is on the line. Daniel Bryan defeated Kofi Kingston, which that's kind of been one of come organically out of left field. I don't think anyone ever thought Kofi Kingston would be wrestling for the WWE title at WrestleMania, but he is. These two have been having some good matches. The New Day will be involved in it. Of course, it's gonna be fun. Universal Championship. This match, Brock Lesnar defending against Seth Rollins. Rollins and AJ Styles, I said, best wrestlers in WWE. Rollins is the hottest male wrestler now. He got over on Brock this week. Was able to curb stomp him, put him down on the ground. You always wonder how long Brock is going to take. Brock is going to take that bit. Because there's always rumors about his. I'd like to see him put it on Rollins here. I think it'd be a good time. And finally, the main event, which had the segment of Raw this past Monday night, winner take all in the women's championship. Ronda Rousey, the women's champion, versus Charlotte Flair, the SmackDown women's champion. First, Becky Lynch, and the winner is going to take home both belts. Becky Lynch might be the hottest. Over the last few months, just the virtue of its Becky. I think they've done a really, really good job of turning the fans against Ronda Rousey. They've turned her into a straight-up heel, which is what needed to be. Charlotte Flair is in a heel mode right now where she's a very cocky, smarmy. Basically, she's acting like Rick.
Oh, shocking.
So you've got the two heels, and then you've got the baby business and Becky Lynch. This is going to be the main event, so this is going to be the last match at WrestleMania. The women are going to close the show. That's huge. That's historic. I don't see any other way this show ends than Becky Lynch standing victorious as the champ. I mean, as we said, she is the man. She is the hottest thing going right now. I think it would be absolutely crazy to not have her standing tall carrying the belts at the end of the show. They had a segment this past Monday night where the brawling all arrested. The back of a police cruiser was kicked out. Anarchy reigned. It was pretty damn magnificent. So, man, give it up to them. They were fantastic. And that is going to be your WrestleMania. WrestleMania 30, WrestleMania 35. Man, they've come a long way. And I think we're going to have a good event coming up on Sunday night.
Point to the side and see if we can keep our arm up
Point
for
to the side one more
hours of this show. So that will do it, though, for this episode of the A Foreign Affair podcast, episode 256. Thank you so much for joining us here this week. Once again, thanks to our sponsors, including NGSC Sports, as well as Alicia's Pillows and Things. You can find them on social media as well as us on Twitter. As a collective, we are at AFA Pod. Wes, you are?
I'm at Wes Bradshaw 21.
I'm at Edward Green. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube via our parent show, the All New Sports Show. You can also email us at that address, allnewsportshow@gmail.com. Thanks to all our podcast providers, including Podbean.com, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, the TuneIn Radio app, Google Play Music, and the iTunes Music Store. Also want to let you guys know that this week, again, as we've mentioned a couple times throughout the pod, there will be a bonus episode this week. First time ever, because on Sunday, after the Foreign Affair Podcast Derby, we came home back to the not our home, of course. We don't record this in a home. We went to our recording studio and recorded a special bonus edition of the podcast where we just talked about Captain Marvel for about 40 minutes. So go check that out. It will be coming out probably same day as this one does. Maybe I'll actually set it to Friday just to space it out a little bit. But that will be coming out shortly after this episode. So that will be a lot of fun. That will be 256B. For bonus, there you go. And for Bree.
B for bonus. And for Bree.
And for BoJack Horseman.
BoJack Horseman. That's a callback.
Yeah, that's been a while.
That is some Friday night high school football.
Yeah. Also, of course, we've both, speaking of Marvel bonus pods, Wes and I have already both purchased our tickets for Avengers Endgame, as apparently so was the rest of the world on Tuesday morning when I was trying to get my pre-sale tickets. So, Wes, I believe you are Friday morning?
I'm Friday morning at 9 a.m.
So
9 a.m. on Friday morning.
So Wes will be one of the first people in the world after the midnight showings on Thursday.
I'll tell you now, they're showing it twice on Thursday night.
Oh.
I think they're showing it twice in 2 theaters. So, because originally when I bought my ticket, why do they not have any daytime showings of this? And then I looked at it before I hit purchase. I was like, damn, I'm glad I did because I had it set for Thursday. So I think it actually starting on Thursday night. Mm-hmm. So Thursday night the movies will start, and I'll be the first of the company to see it. I just can't wait for Ed to see it so we can immediately get on the phone and start talking about that thing.
And we will, because I will be going Saturday early afternoon. I will be venturing over to my local theater along with one named technical producer Jackie, and we will be seeing the culmination of 10 years plus of Marvel movies in Avengers Endgame. It will be... have you seen the latest trailer?
I have. I just don't know what the hell to believe anymore.
Yeah, because they're just actively lying to us.
Yeah.
It's all...
and really quick, speaking of trailers, well, of course you did comment on it. The trailer for Joker came out today.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's a little different.
Holy shit, did that look freaky as hell? What to talk about that? Joaquin Phoenix playing the Joker? I mean, can a more perfect person actually play the Joker who's still alive?
Okay. Yeah. Not you, Jared Leto. Not you.
Definitely not you, Jared Leto. Jack Nicholson, we still love you too, but I mean, this is going to be like the creepiest version ever of the Joker.
Yeah, this is a little different. This is
going to be a dark ass movie,
and of course, it won't be connected to the DCEU.
I mean, this movie almost looks more like sort of a superhero or anything.
This will be No Country for Old Men with the Joker. So please enjoy Joaquin Phoenix in the role he was born to play, and hopefully will not kill him. So with that lovely bit of update, Wes, you just added something, but now that we're closing episode 256, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Shit, that should have been my add-on. Basketball. Woo.
Hey, Final Four this weekend. Go, yeah.
Yeah, go. Well, shit, your team's there.
Yeah, Virginia. Woo!
Yeah, I'm sure you're going to be watching. You're more of a Virginia baseball guy, but still. Yeah.
It's still fun.
Hey, you know what? Duke or Carolina is not winning things, so.
Gotta carry on that ACC.
That's all that really matters to me. Neither one of those fan bases are going to be in their hole.
Kentucky's not going to win either, so that's pretty great.
Yeah, Kentucky's not going to win, and apparently the third school from Texas has a chance to win. So.
Yeah, well,
whatever.
Are they? Because
Texas Tech. I would say Texas and then Texas A&M personally.
Oh, because I also would have put Baylor.
Yeah, but they're Baylor
and potentially Texas Christian, depending on
the sport. Baylor doesn't even have the word Texas in their name.
That's true.
Yeah.
Texas Christian does, though.
True that.
There you go. Horned Frogs represent. So that will do it, though, for episode 256 on that random note of the Foreign Affair podcast. We'll be back next week as I slowly nod my head. Question mark?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Should be.
So there we go. So for my call and crime Wes Bradshaw, I am Edward Green. We'll take you guys next week on the Foreign Affair podcast. For now, episode 256 is in the books. And with that, we say thank you so much, everyone. Take care, stay safe, and enjoy the football.
Good night, Manchester United. Sleep tight, guys.
Oh, boy.
It's all falling apart.
Yeah. Who knew it was that easy that they just had to officially hire
Just give them a
Solskjaer?
job.
Who knew? Who knew it'd be that easy? Besides everyone.
This show is sponsored by Alicia's Pillows and Things. Check out the Facebook page, Alicia's Pillows and Things, where you will find home decor you will not be able to resist at prices anybody can afford. Check out the pillows and stools of your favorite sports teams. Maybe you want a set of your kid's favorite cartoon or movie character. You can also get full body and neck pillows as well. Log on to ngscsports.com and go to the Alicia's Pillows and Things tab on the homepage to complete your order. It makes a great gift for Christmas at an affordable price. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on NGSCsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.